Big Ideas Show today with Kelly Culver. We are talking about social media anxiety. So Kelly, why should they listen?
So social media anxiety is something that almost every business owner goes through, that they might not realise it, that is actually stopping them from reaching their full potential. And I will be sharing actionable tips, techniques for you to get over it and start kicking ass online.
Yes, here we go. Big Ideas Show up next. Welcome along to another edition of the Big Idea Show in our new studio.
It's pretty cool.
It is cool. And today I am joined by Kelly Culver from Jelly Cogs.
You got it right. I'm impressed.
Yes,
I'm impressed.
Not Jelly Clogs, Jelly Cogs.
Yes, COGS.
And we're talking about social media anxiety.
Scary.
I know,
Scary
right?
Scary stuff.
And because this is a topic, isn't it, that you've been exploring a lot more personally and also you help clients with, right?
Yes, 100%.
So I thought, should we start there? What do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of some of the stuff you've done in the last few months? Is it a few months?
Few months to a year, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a social media marketer first and foremost, just to give you guys a bit of context. And I help people get online for the first time. I help them get through anxiety that's related to social media and going live or getting themselves seen out there. However, I kind of didn't feel true to it because for a little while I was actually going through the anxiety myself. I was not posting at all. I was not going live, when the year before I was going live almost every single day. So it's kind of weird. And people were kind of pulling me up on it. So I thought, right, I need to deal with this. First and foremost, I need to deal with this, and I need to deal with it head on to show people that, okay, maybe it's not so hard. Mm-hmm. And actually, funny enough, the first time I did it, I actually cried. I actually cried, which was really cool. I say it's cool because it helped people realise that, okay, I'm probably not going to cry if I go on a live stream like her, which was good.
Yeah. Well, it's real, right?
Yeah, it was real. And I did think about deleting it, I'm not going to lie. But I thought, no, I'll leave it out there just for a little bit longer, because I was getting messages from people saying, okay, this has inspired me. You know, if you can do it, and if you've gone through social media anxiety and you're a social media manager, then I can do it too.
Yeah. And I think it's something, and this was the reason I wanted to get you on, because it's something I don't think people talk about. It's like, oh, social media, you should just do it. We should all know how to do it. But we don't think about the fact that, we think, I'm just lazy or I'm procrastinating. And we don't go, no, there's an emotional reason or concern or anxiety of why we're not posting it.
100%.
Which maybe kind of we need to talk about. And I think it's very easy, isn't it? And I guess not a typical kind of social media person or a marketing agency would go, oh, well, just post. You just need to post, without going, yeah, but there's something, if you physically feel like you can't and you're feeling like that anxiety, like you said, that you want to cry, there's clearly something to be looked at. Could you call yourself a social media marketer? No, what was your exact terminology?
Yeah, social media marketer.
But would you say, are you a coach as well? Would you ever call yourself a coach?
I prefer the word consultant, but I have called myself a coach. same difference, really. Because
consultant for me is much more formulate, like serious and about the things you do, rather
and I am very serious, aren't I?
You are very serious. But I mean, a coach, I guess, looks at the emotional stuff, whereas if I was to hire a consultant, I'd expect them to tell me what to do, whereas a coach would say, tell me why you're not doing that.
A coach is a very why based, and consultants are do this, do that. So I'm a little bit of both. Sometimes I do need to say, you need to do this, but other times you do look, okay, so why are you doing it this way and not this way, etc., etc. Why are your thoughts running in this pattern? Which is weird coming from a social media coach, because you'd think I'm a mental health coach at that point, but hey, it's a type of compassionate balance. I kind of meld the two together and it works somehow. But with social media anxiety, you're right, you are 100% right. People don't talk about it enough. And if they do, there's a bit of a stigma around it. You know, people don't like to talk about mental health at all. If you say you've got depression in the workplace, you feel like you're going to get fired. So if you say you've got anxiety as a business owner, people think that people are going to look at you and think, well, what a pussy. But in reality, they don't, because to some extent, almost everyone goes through it. If someone tells you they don't go through it, I'm sorry, but that is a lie. That is a total lie.
Yeah.
Because anytime you go to do something new, there is pretty much, I can guarantee you will always get one kind of negative thought in your head. Now, people with anxiety, they just tend to pay more attention to the negative thoughts as opposed to the positive thoughts, which then can not only spiral you into a worse state of anxiety, but also into a state of depression, because anxiety and depression are really closely linked. So 100% we need to start talking about it more, and people need to be a bit more upfront about it. You know, that's why I like to talk about it on my profile a lot, and because it opens up a dialogue, and you know, people can say what's on their mind a little bit more. And I've got the group a group on Facebook that it's not anxiety based, like it's not an anxiety support group, because I don't feel like I could do that, although I can help. But it gives people a chance to, you know, say, I'm nervous about going live for the first time. I'm nervous about doing this blog post. I'm nervous about, you know, even just writing a status. Because I'm not even joking. I've sat there and I've trembled after typing out a status and shall I post this, shall I not? And it has been pure gold. I'm not even lying. It has been like really, really good tips for people to market the business or whatever it was. And I was just sat there just like, shall I post this? Shall I not? Shall I post this? Shall I not? And quite often I didn't, I'll admit. And ironically, I had this same thought about a post that I wrote about anxiety, and I posted it into a Facebook group, and I said, I have had anxiety about posting this for fear of it being deleted and me being banned from the group. Talk about anxiety and social media, etc., etc. And I got deleted and banned from the group.
Oh.
Yes. So I found that quite funny. I'm now back in the group.
Yeah.
But they were trying to silence me on the topic of anxiety in business, and I'm not too sure why. So it feels like there's a big stigma with a lot of people there, because it's not the first group that I got deleted from for posting that either. Yeah.
Was it more like, right, we're only looking at the business side, we don't want it? Was it kind of a, it's not invalid, it's just not relevant here? Well, or do you think it was I don't know, what would be the benefit for people for not allowing you to share it? Like,
well, it was a
they
marketing.
Must feel threatened in some way, right?
Exactly. Well, that's what I thought, but it kind of didn't make sense. It was a marketing group, so you'd think, well, people get anxiety about marketing their business, which was what it was about. I was explaining about the live stream, said how I got over the fear. I said it's not as scary as you think it is. So I wasn't selling anything. I wasn't trying to sell my service. I was literally just saying, like, I've got through this. You can too.
Yeah.
Even me as a social media manager gets anxiety, and they deleted it. And it was quite mad, because the people that did see it were quite pissed off, so to speak, that it was deleted. They were saying, well, this is relevant to us.
Yeah.
This is something we want to see more of, because it's not a discussion that's happening very often. So for some reason, some people are silencing it, but I'm going to keep going there.
Start getting people to talk about it. And I guess that's maybe the answer is it needs to have its own group, because it's a significant thing that doesn't fit into one category or another. And I guess with there being so many groups, people often want to make they're all, which I agree with, like, you know, if you've got a group or you've got a product, you've got an offering, even if it's a free Facebook group, for example, it's important to be clear and on point.
Yeah.
But there's stuff that does need to be said, so it's like, you know, using it to maybe moving elsewhere. But so what is the way that most of this shows up as, like, so there's the anxiety, and I guess is the main result or impact just that people don't post? Is it kind of that simple, a cause and effect?
I wish it was that simple. Oh gosh no. Well, to be honest, with anxiety, people are all affected differently. So some people, it might just be them not posting and just sitting there thinking, okay, I didn't post that, and then I go, I should have posted that, but I've deleted it now. So you get the negative thoughts about not doing what you was going to do, but then it goes further, and you can get trembles, you can start shaking, you can start nervously crying, heart palpitations. You can also go very, very pale and start to look sick, which is strange. It's because all your blood drains from your face, etc. It's crazy how many different symptoms there are for anxiety that people don't realise. Loss of appetite, or gain of appetite, so you might lose or gain weight too. And also acne, things like acne, neck pain and back pain is also related to anxiety. There are so many symptoms that maybe you don't realise could be potentially linked to something anxiety based. So whether it could be generalized anxiety disorder, or maybe you're just going through a low patch, but there are so many symptoms that are related to anxiety that could make you just think, oh, I'm a massive sick note.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking for so long. I was thinking, I am always ill. I am constantly getting ill. You know, I always look ill, but I've always got so much energy, which I found kind of weird. So I then found out I'm like a high-functioning anxious person. I can't think of the actual word for it. So I'm a high-functioning anxiety person thing. Yeah.
We get what you mean.
Yeah. So I'm glad someone does. And I didn't realise that until I actually started looking more and more into the symptoms, that everything's related. So as I started to reel back in my anxiety and actually practice what I preach, because I'll admit I didn't do that for a while. I was helping other people through it, but not doing it myself. But as I started to practice what I preach, I realised that the other symptoms were dying down as well. Like, I don't have the horrible neck pain I had before. It's still slightly there, but nowhere near as bad. I'm still slightly shaky. Like, I'm going to full out admit now, I'm still slightly shaky now.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen because
Yeah.
I'm a nervous anxiety person. But yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
is it, I guess, because that's kind of the much wider impact or symptoms of anxiety, I guess, is it, and would you say with bringing the social media into it, is it that the social media causes the anxiety, or is it more just the fact of having to stand up and share, the act of social media helps us, and I say help us, draw awareness and bring our awareness to ourselves that we are anxious? Do you get what I mean? Like the two different sides. Like, are people just anxious of social media, or are they an anxious person and therefore social media highlights that issue?
So I'd say there's two sides to it. You've got people that are just generally anxious about social media. So that's, to me, I see that as a form of stage fright, because social media is pretty much a stage. But the second is actually because of the way that social media is built. So with Facebook, you've got an endless news feed that's constantly giving you different pieces of content, which stimulates dopamine production in your brain, which is basically the same effects as crack cocaine, heroin, etc., etc. Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you do get a similar set of withdrawal from social media, etc., like you would with drugs, and that can bring on anxiety too. So not only can going on social media give you stage fright anxiety, but staying away from it can also. So it's kind of a difficult one. It is a really tricky one. And obviously when you post a selfie and you can have people from around the world saying you're ugly, that's going to make anyone anxious.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many kind of multiple levels to it, isn't it? So.
Oh yeah, because you can get trolled, or even if things don't happen, someone not replying to you or not getting a like on your post. Yeah. These are all things that can cause us anxiety, because again, getting a like on a post or getting a comment, it again stimulates dopamine production. So if you don't get that, you're going to get anxious. You're expecting the reward, because dopamine is a reward chemical, and you're not getting that reward. So anticipation is a killer.
Oh my God. Okay, there's lots. We're going to take a break now, and we're going to come back, and we're going to pick one of those topics to take a little bit further. So, cool. Okay, we're back. Part 2, Big Idea Show. Kelly Culver in the hot seat. We're talking social media anxiety, and in the first link we obviously embodied the whole lot, what kind of the different forms and how you've experienced it kind of on both sides, right? Helping people, but also I really like that you were really like authentic with, this is something I've experienced, and therefore you are the expert because you have first-hand experience. You're not just someone going, oh, you should do lots of social media, it's really good for your business. You're going, you should do that, but I get why you don't.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I get it, and therefore you can help them because you.
Yeah, I'm there for you guys. I'm there for you.
Good.
Yeah, I'm like your sister. But no, you're 100% right, because a lot of people just say, oh yeah, post. But I found that some of them are actually going through the anxiety themselves and not posting. Yeah,
what you mean, like professionals kind of saying you should do this, and I guess maybe it's hard, like as a social media manager doing stuff for other people. I assume you don't get as much anxiety when you're posting on someone else's behalf, because it's maybe not as personal, or do you 100%,
still 100%?
Really?
I am 10 times better at everyone else's post than I am my own, guarantee you, because it's weird. It's like there's a blockage
when it's your own
like
emotions or feelings.
Yeah, when it's your own baby, it's your own business. You know, you're very picky with it. Yeah. You know, a lot of the times you're just like, should I post that? Should I not? Yeah. And then you start to overthink a lot of things. And this is true in case of product launches, etc., as well as social media posting. We just think, okay, it's not quite perfect, so I'll just adapt it a little bit, and I'll post it out tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and you're just like, oh no, there's a spelling mistake. No, can't post that today. Let's leave it till tomorrow. Oh, I don't quite like that image. And you'll just be constantly going over it again. Yeah, perfection, trying to perfect it. But it's not always you being a perfectionist. Sometimes it's just because you're scared to post. You're scared to get your message out there.
Yeah.
And it can be a kind of a catch-22 because you're scared to put your message out there, but you're not going to know people's reactions until you actually do get your message out there.
Yeah, and you're constantly trying to perfect and evolve what you're doing, but if you don't have real feedback, you just have that internal thing going round and round in your head going, oh, it is good, and wait, no, it's not good. No one likes it. Yeah, well, that's because you haven't told anyone about it, right? So I guess it's this... Is it with that in mind, when we're talking, because we're talking now specifically about this idea of putting stuff out, as opposed to, you obviously touched on, it can be, people can get anxious about whether people like it coming back, but we're looking at putting it out in the first place. Is it that it's not necessarily that it's social media they're anxious of, it's sharing their big idea, sharing their business? And I know I personally felt this, like this whole idea of kind of when you have to say, this is even sometimes this is my goal, this is what I want to achieve in business or in my life, and you think people are going to, personally I worry that people go, well, who do you think you are to think you can achieve that, right? And so it's less being anxious about social media and more being anxious of, can I do it? And if I say I'm going to do it and I can't do it, not for lack of trying, but I physically, it doesn't come about.
Yeah, it just doesn't, it's just not the right time.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, where I'd get anxious is, and sometimes I'll tend to post stuff when I'm excited by it and just post it and almost purposely not think about it, because otherwise you can get, like you said, you kind of start to overthink it and tweak it rather than it's out. And then I go, oh God, did that sound really ridiculous? But I don't know. The thing I always think is sometimes if people like it, they'll comment on it and it will get attention. If they don't like it, they'll probably ignore it, in which case it's disappeared down the Facebook stream anyway, right?
And if you're doing something that they're jealous of, then they're going to hate on it. That's what I've always found. But you're right, overthinking is an absolute killer. It really is, because half the time, if you actually look at the thoughts that you're having when you're overthinking anything, whether it's overthinking your relationship, overthinking absolutely anything, your social media posts, chances are all those thoughts are complete and utter crap. Yeah, they really are. Like, they just don't make sense. You're just like, what reason is this thought here? There's no evidence for this to be true. There's no evidence for this. And when you actually start to look at the thoughts that you've got, you're just like, actually they're kind of stupid, and you can laugh at yourself. Yeah. Because they can get really, really stupid. Like, I don't want to post this picture on social media because I am wearing the wrong t-shirt. Yeah. I have had that thought before. I'm being 100% honest. You can have a silly thought like that, but why does that mean you shouldn't post a social media post? Why does it mean that? But going deeper, you've got to think, okay, why am I getting that thought? Why does that thought keep coming through? Yeah. And that could be a difficult one. It could be from a past experience. Maybe someone's commented something negative on your post when you've been wearing that t-shirt before, for instance. That wasn't it in my case. I can't remember it because I just found it to be irrelevant. But yeah, there's always a cause to those patterns of thoughts. Yeah. So what I like to do is, if I start to overthink something before posting something on social media, then I'll write down the thoughts I'm getting and I'll laugh at them. Yeah. Even if it's a forced laugh, it's just a nice little happiness boost, and I'll just okay, I'm in a good mood now, I'll post it. And then it's too late. So if I get anxious again, I've got to delete it, and that's just way too much effort. As strange as that sounds, it's how a lot of people's minds have worked with who I've worked with, is once you post it, you're just like, I can't bother to delete it now. You might as well just leave it there. Yeah. If I get something negative, okay, then I'll delete it unless I'm feeling confident. And that's what I just like to do, just laugh at it and then post it.
So would that be a bit of a tip, I guess, or a technique, is almost what's the saying about do it first and then ask for forgiveness? No, what's the saying? You know the one I mean. I can't. Everyone's going to be shouting out there at me, like. No,
I know exactly what you mean. I can't think of it either.
It's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Yeah, or something like that. About
something like that.
Put it out, and if it's going to cause a problem, then take it out, because the chances are you won't. And
exactly, 100%. And
but does that work from how your mind's working? Going, oh no, I shouldn't.
Yes and no, because a lot of it is actually training your mind to go into a more positive state. So our natural state is positive, joy, happiness. That is how we are supposed to be. I mean, look at babies. Most of the time they are really, really happy unless they're hungry or soiled themselves. But otherwise,
Yeah.
they're happy, they're
Yeah.
laughing, and that is us in our most natural forms. Kids,
Yeah.
they're happy, they're finding childlike wonder and everything. So it's something that happens between them that causes us to become anxious, to become depressed, anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's getting ourselves back into those thought patterns, because the more negative feelings and the more anxious thoughts you get, then I think they're called neural pathways are created in your brain, and they're more solidified the more of these thoughts you get. But to stop that happening, you create new neural pathways by changing the emotions.
Yeah.
So by creating that laughter, by laughing at yourself, you're creating a happiness emotion of,
Yeah.
joy. So it's creating new neural pathways associated with these thoughts, if you understand what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
So you start, it kind of wears them down.
Okay.
It wears them down. They get softer over time as you start to look at your thoughts more, laugh at them, realise how silly they are. And not only do you get to see inside your brain, like the kind of crap that could come from your brain,
Yeah.
but it's also helping you deal with it, helping you release these emotions, so to speak.
Yeah. So is that the biggest tool that you use, would you say?
Yes, yes, I would say so. That and meditation.
Okay.
Meditation is epic. I know it sounds woo-woo, but it is really not, because if you actually look on Google or anything like that, then it's got all the science behind it. But it's another thing I'm just going to add in here, completely random, is anxiety. A lot of the time, you start to breathe very shallow. So you're breathing from the top of your chest, and you're not breathing from your belly. So this is why meditation helps, is because you start to breathe deeper. So I like to breathe in through my nose for 6 seconds, and pause for 5 seconds, and then out through your mouth for 6 seconds. So in through nose, out through mouth. And that is so helpful, because it slows your heart rate, it starts to regulate your breathing more, it gets your circulation, gets your blood going, and it just makes you feel more at one, more peaceful. And I know people use it for spirituality and etc., but it can work really, really well for your anxiety, because it starts to calm the symptoms as they start to happen. So if you find yourself going into an anxiety attack, that's why they say deep breathing is really, really good for panic attacks, etc. And it's because you become a shallow breather when you're anxious. So start belly breathing, guys. You'll feel much more relaxed.
A few deep breaths before you press send.
Yes, 100%.
Isn't there a I can't remember, it was the lady something Robinson, and she says she's got like the 5 second
Mel Robbins
5 seconds in the morning, you have to get up and do it. Is this the same for every time you press post on social media? You have to go 3 deep breaths, and on the third you go send.
Yeah, 100%. If you find that they are becoming really, really intrusive thoughts, then don't have your phone or your laptop in front of you. Just literally take 5 minutes away, 5 minutes, and just sit there, close your eyes, or stare at, I don't know, I like to stare at candles. I know that's kind of strange. Or art. Art's really nice as well.
Yeah, I look at art, yeah.
And just start breathing deeper, and don't ignore your emotions. Just acknowledge them, and just let them flow past. And that sounds really hard, especially if you've got a racing mind like mine, and like yours too.
Yeah.
It is hard to start with, but I find that on day 20, day 21, it's not 21 days to make a habit, but on day 20, 21, I found with most of my clients that's when they start to see the difference. That's when they can look at their thoughts, like instead of writing them down, they can look at their thoughts in their head and think, okay, that's stupid. you're silly. Yeah. You're being stupid now. Yeah. And again, you can laugh at yourself, but without having to do all the writing. So if you want it quicker, meditation.
There we go. Okay, that's a good place to leave it for this one. We're going to come back in part 3. See you in a bit. Social media anxiety is our topic, and we're coming back. We were telling you, Kelly was telling you some tips of how we can, if you're feeling that anxiety, how to put it in action. But I always think it's a funny one, isn't it? Like, we can have all the hints and tips, and we can know that the way to lose weight is to eat less, move more, but it still doesn't make us do it. So I guess in this section, I thought it'd be nice if we look at, I guess, why we don't, or no, not even why, but the kind of shed light and start to increase our awareness, both for ourselves in this conversation. And I always hopefully that we learn stuff in this conversation as well as people that are listening, so that you can, and then it's only when you can shed light on stuff that you can either understand your behaviour or change your behaviour.
Yes.
So I guess what we were saying, that in this one, looking at this social media anxiety, and I always think when you're procrastinating about posting something, I often think any form of procrastination, not just on social media, but this is the context for the conversation, is often because there's something, we're procrastinating because we know something's not right. There's something we haven't seen that's stopping us, that we need to maybe stop and look at. And we were just chatting in the break about this idea of being honest with yourself, right? So I guess, what is it that I always like to use ourselves as an example, because that's when we can be the most honest.
Exactly.
What was the moment when you went, something's not working, I'm stopping myself from posting? And then what did you see? And then by seeing it, what did it open up as a new opportunity? Like, I don't have to be that way anymore.
Well, it was quite funny. I was just sat there one day, and I had a couple of people add me on Facebook, and they said, "You're awfully quiet online for a social media manager." And it was two people saying that to me in one day that made me think,
really?
Okay, yeah, you've got a point there. I need to look. I was aware that I wasn't posting, and I was aware that I had the fear, but at that point I was just like, okay, now I've been told, people are noticing, I've got to do something about it.
And and I guess if people tell you, then it must be significant enough for them to comment.
Exactly. I mean, what kind of social media manager doesn't post on social media? What kind of idiot does that?
One that's too busy doing social media for our clients.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah. But no, I like the fact that you're honest. And I think a lot of time people hide behind, it's because I'm doing it for others.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. I was very fearful, but I did try and hide it. Admittedly, I did originally say, it's because I'm doing it for everyone else and I can't bother to do it for myself. I used that excuse so many times, and I thought, do you know what? No, it's time to stop. It's time to stop doing that and find out for myself why I'm doing this and why my brain's acting like this. And, I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So I put my detective hat on and my little glasses, that thing, so monocle. That's the one. Monocle for the people who can't see a video right now.
Yeah. We're doing the actions. The only action you can do for a monocle.
So with the monocle on, and I thought, right, okay, I need to get to the bottom of this. Yeah. Now I am fascinated with psychology, nerdy stuff, absolutely anything, science, everything. I just like to absorb knowledge. So I thought, okay, I have seen journaling pop up a lot in the therapist groups that I frequent because I'm strange. I speak to therapists, not for counselling or anything. I just like to speak to them for new ways that they're discussing. I'm
totally with you. Like the whole how we think, how our minds work, and this is kind of the idea behind the show is
thought patterns, everything. It's so interesting,
especially when you're talking about everyday stuff like social media. And going, but there's a whole mindset going on back here for all of us.
100%. Yeah, it's our subconscious mind. Yeah. So our subconscious is actually built on the things that we have fed it over the past, however old you are. So whether that's positive or negative, your subconscious mind has absorbed that, and it's now playing out your reality with everything that you fed it. So what I did to find out what was in my subconscious mind, what kind of crap was going on in there, because I'm 21. I've got a lot of crap in there. I wasn't long ago I was a teenager. So what I did was I started journaling. Now it was very hard for me to stick to because I felt like a 13-year-old girl going, "Dear diary, today I met blah 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 and had a coffee." I didn't feel right.
There's lots of coffee every other line. And I had a coffee and I had a coffee.
Much. Funny enough, it's funny you mentioned coffee. That also causes anxiety. So
that's down the caffeine. Yeah, you found it just by the fact it was like coffee every other line.
Pretty much. But that is part of it. I will 100% admit. It is part of it. So I do switch to decaf when I remember, which isn't quite often. So good one there, Kelly. There you go. I've got to be accountable. Got to start quitting coffee. Yeah. But journaling, honestly, it's been so great to see what's going on in my head. Yeah. And it's quite scary. It's quite funny. Yeah. It's quite disturbing. Because everyone else likes to probably knows where I'm coming from if they've ever sat there and just thought, okay, this is really weird stuff going on in my head right now.
And when it comes out, and I guess maybe is that why there's a lot of maybe stigma, or people don't want, or they give it kind of no, why would you want to do that? Because they're scared, right? Because you have
to think we're different, but we're not.
Yeah, and if you write it down, it's real. Oh my god, I do actually think that, and you start to you're scared at yourself, and then I like what you said about it. Then you just laugh at yourself. You force yourself to laugh at yourself. Yeah, right?
You might not feel like laughing. You might think, I'm a psychopath. Like, seriously, some people have tentatively shown me what they've written when they've done a brain dump. I call it a brain dump. So literally writing every thought that comes into your head. And they've said, there's some really disturbing stuff here. Yeah. Like, is there something wrong with me? And I said, well, no, not really, because you're just literally dumping every thought that's in your head. You know, you're not thinking about that every day. You're not taking action on that. If you know, we all think we might want to kill someone at some point. You know, sometimes someone annoys us, and an instant thought is, oh, I could kill them right now. You know, it's not a real thought. You don't mean it. Otherwise, you'd have done it by now. And if you have, shame on you. That's really bad. But so write everything down. So do a brain dump. So that's all your thoughts. I like to do this every single day. So that's every single thought that's going through your head until you feel like you're empty. Now you will sit there with a blank page and be worried. There's nothing in my head.
Yeah.
Good. Just keep sitting there until something comes out. Literally, just keep doing that.
And sometimes in that situation, because I've done that and I've gone, oh, I don't know what to write. Oh God, there's nothing I want to talk about. Like, why am I so unproductive, or why can't I think of anything? And then it's there, and then that's the start of it, right?
Exactly. And funny that you start mentioning those questions that you write down is, a lot of the emotions that you tend to have is because you're asking yourself the wrong question. Yeah. So your brain is is the most powerful computer in the world, and it will come up with an answer to any question you give it. So if you're asking it questions like, why am I not good enough? And it's going to say, because, or as Tony Robbins said, because you're a turkey. That's the example he used in his video. It's just pop into my head. Or because you're a wooden man on a figurine. You know, it could be anything. And your brain will give you an answer, whether it's the right answer or not. It will give you an answer. So start asking it the right questions. When you start to see the negative questions that you're answering it, how can you reword that question?
Yeah, that's nice.
And then make a conscious effort to, when you start feeling or getting those questions pop up into your head, reword the question. And I promise you will start to feel happier after that. Nice. I promise you. It's great. But rewording the questions that you ask yourself is probably the most powerful tool that I will give you guys today.
Yeah, definitely. And is there like certain questions that work particularly well, would you say? Or is it more, is it that you kind of just sometimes put a different spin? Because you can go, why are you late? Or you can go, what would it be like if you were more punctual?
Yes, exactly.
Is it that like sort of rewording the same thing rather than asking a completely different question? Because I guess some people might say, well, I don't know the questions. I can't think of the questions that I don't normally think about. So how would I come up with stuff?
100%. And I think another example really is Neville Longbottom from Harry Potter. Okay. Why is it always me? Every film he says, why is it always me? Yeah. Well, it's not always him. Yeah. You're just thinking it is at that point. So again, when you ask that question, your brain's going to come up with an answer. So sometimes you have to take a step back. If it's in a case of why is it always me? Well, it's not always you. Is crap really happening to you every 5 seconds? No, it's not. Yeah. You're just thinking in that state is because you're currently in a negative state of mind. So you're going to think everything's against you. But consciously changing the questions, so why am I always late, or anything like that, is really good. And it works also really well when going into meetings. If you are late, instead of apologising for being late, say thank you for waiting. Completely changes the air. Completely changes the air. Yeah. And if you already use something like that in business, then you can clearly see how that's going to work for your mindset as well. Yeah, definitely. And I guess, we're looking at the question and the answer to kind of try and hold them both on the same thought, or kind of if you're suffering this anxiety, can be quite challenging, I guess, if you're trying to question and answer at the same time. But it sounds like from what you're saying there is you can almost initially anyway forget the answers for now, just look at why you're asking yourself those questions. Yeah. Purely look at the questions, and that creates the context for our life, doesn't it? Yeah. The view, because I guess do our questions give us our viewpoint or our point of view that our life is created under? I don't know. I feel like a lot of the questions that we ask ourselves are just instant reactions from everything that we fed our subconscious mind over the past couple of years. So, for instance, with me, I went through a lot of bullying at school, and there were some people that were really horrible to me and said that I'd never amount to anything. So every time I was doing something public, I was starting to think, what if these girls see this and they start commenting? What if this? What if this? And then at that point I realised, okay, so that thought's coming from that memory. So that's where that's stemming from. And you think, okay, well, I haven't seen these people in 5 years. They ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah. And that's why writing it down helps, because then you can start to see, okay, so this could perhaps come from here. And it's kind of fun to have a little mind map like that. It could be like a game. Why don't you just play a game with your brain? Like, Yeah, it's trying to find the answers.
And also, I guess with the mind map and the brain dump, like you said,
Yeah.
you could also brain dump one question. Like you could say, so in your example of what happens if these horrible, nasty girls see it and comment, but you could also say, well, why are they horrible, nasty girls? Oh, because clearly they've got their own issues, and
they're either jealous, they've got their own issues at home, and they just wanted to take it out on someone else. It could be anything. And funnily enough, that anxious thought did come true when I got first feature with BBC.
Really?
Yep, they commented on the BBC video, and it was hilarious because they got shut down.
Nice.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, and it just gave me the reassurance that your thoughts will scare you into not doing anything. I even said to BBC, please don't post it on social media. They ignored me, which I'm glad they did, because I said it to them for that reason, and they ignored it, and I'm really, really glad they did, because then I wouldn't have got the good that came from it. I wouldn't have had the amazing feedback of the messages that I inspired someone.
Yeah.
So get your crap out there, guys.
Yeah.
Don't be worried about 13-year-old girls bullying you.
Yeah, exactly. There will always be someone that will give you a bit of crap.
Yeah.
But also, I guess maybe it's that focusing on the good that can come from posting, as opposed to always focusing on the negative.
Yeah. Even if you do get a ton of hate for something that you post, well, there's a silver lining in everything. Like, seriously, absolutely everything. There is a silver lining.
Yeah.
You just got to find it, and that's another fun thing I like to do. Whenever something bad happens, is I'll be like, okay, so my car's not working. What's the bright side of this? So I've got to walk to the shop, so I'm going to get a bit more exercise.
Yeah.
I'm going to be out in the fresh air. That's quite nice too. Oh, it's raining. I don't like the rain, but what's the good thing about it? The air's fresher. It's got a nice sound on the windows. It's just little things like that. And just finding the joys in things that, I don't know, might not seem joyful. Okay, maybe if there's something that's really, really bad happened, maybe you probably can't find a good thing. Maybe you can't. But on the whole, with little things that irritate you or maybe make you feel anxious or depressed in day-to-day life, there is a bright side.
Yeah.
There's always a good thing going on.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Always look on the bright side of life.
If only I could just play that song now. That'd be good. Boom, play.
That's why I had to do it. I thought, right, I'm not gonna pause
it. Well, I think that's a good note before we all start singing. I think that's a good note
everyone's
to
already
start.
to be fair.
Yeah. They're off. They've got that song in their head now. I'm really sorry. You've got that song in your head now, haven't you? For the rest of the night.
I'm not sorry, because that's going to remind you to always look on the bright side of life.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. See, it's a good thing. An annoying song actually has some pretty solid advice.
It could be the moment they need it right now. They could think we're idiots, but but someone might. That one person goes, you know what? I will look for the good thing in this thing.
I used to have a teddy that used to sing that. I might have to find it now.
We definitely found the good side of this, haven't we? I think that's
Always
a good point to leave it, to say thank you very much indeed.
No
It's been awesome. How can people, if they want some help, they want to see your video of you crying, and I'm saying that in a really positive way, because I watched it and it moved me, and I was like, good on you, that's awesome to be that, and it made me go.
You messaged me straight away after.
It got me, and it made me go, I need to be more authentic, because I try and be as authentic, and sometimes I worry that I'm being too honest, but it made me go, nope, I can up my game and be more honest. Like, Kelly's really put herself on the line, so I should do more as well. So yeah, if people want to see the video or want to get in touch, where can they find you?
Easiest way is Facebook. So facebook.com/Kelly Culver, so that's CULVER 1996, or you can find me on Twitter, Kelly Culver 96, or you can visit the agency website, jellycogs.com, and click the contact form button, and you'll be taken to me.
Yay! And then lots of nice comments.
Yeah,
And lots of conversation.
Be nice to me, please.
Well, also, even if not nice comments, it's learning.
Yeah,
I'm just going to throw that one in the end there. I'm opening this up.
Looking at the bright side.
Bad comments are learning. And this ties in quite well, because last week, I'm opening this conversation up. We're going to close it down. But no, last week, I was chatting to Chris Dole, and he was saying about how he likes failure because it's a great opportunity to learn. So we can think of negative comments, a great opportunity to learn.
100%. Gary Vee says the same. Every mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it.
Yeah.
Always learn from everything, and if you do something stupid, see what you did wrong and how you can improve it next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we're going to carry on talking otherwise. Right, let's call it to a day there. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye. Bye. massive thank you to Kelly Culver from Jelly Cogs for joining me today for our discussion around social media anxiety. And I think it's a really important topic. We obviously kind of went both ends of the scale really there with that one. The stuff around that it kind of maybe reveals a much bigger problem that social media is causing, but also kind of underlying issues that we may all experience, and social media maybe is just the tool that allows us to bring it to light and makes it more apparent, because social media is so public and so out there. Maybe it's that opportunity to look a little bit deeper for why it causes concerns, and hopefully do something about it, take action sooner than you might otherwise. So massive thank you to her for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely do go check out her videos. I think, as I said earlier on, when I watched her video that she put out and kind of was being so authentic, it was amazing to see, and that's kind of what I wanted to get on the show, because this idea of being able to be really, really authentic in business, in your own business, I think it's incredible. And I personally, I feel that that's the way things are going, where I'd certainly like to take my business and the stuff that I do. And hopefully some of you out there will join me on that challenge, because it's not easy, but it definitely kind of pays off, both in terms of how you feel about your work and how other people, and the impact and benefit that you can have on other people with your business. So thank you to her for being so honest and so open with everything she does. And also massive thank you to all our sponsors. So we're really, really grateful to have those guys on. There's Boldfish Glass Services. Thank you for their support. Those guys love giving people opportunities. So it's really great that they're giving us an opportunity. QBH Solutions, making HR compliance simple, because at the end of the day, there's so much complexity. So we love getting involved with those guys. From Go Monkey, the web app. So this is about, these guys are great at getting people out there taking action, and getting out and kind of inspiring parents and grandparents to get their kids out there in the world, trying new things and ultimately learning and experiencing things. And Meticulous Media, these guys really share our passion in terms of helping you guys out there, helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals to share their big ideas. So we couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you very much indeed. I hope you enjoyed it, listeners. Please like and share, please comment, tell us what you think, how we could be better. Always up for constructive criticism and feedback. So have a good rest of the day, whatever you are up to, and hopefully see you next week. Bye.